Good day and welcome. You're watching Sint Maarten NEWSDESK, where we bring you the latest and most important stories around the island and beyond. With your anchor crew, Alston Lawrence, Glenda York, Tiziana Hart, and Mizzy with the Sunshine Report. This broadcast is brought to you by TV15 and proudly produced by Great Bay Media Studios in Philipsburg, Sint Maarten. And now, let's jump straight into today's top headlines.
Police investigate weekend violence and emergencies. The police force is investigating a shooting, a stabbing, 2 traffic accidents, and a fire reported across Sint Maarten. In St. Peter's, a man suffered a gunshot wound to his upper body shortly before 11 a.m. Friday morning. He was transported to the Sint Maarten Medical Center with injuries described as serious but not life-threatening. Anyone with information about that should call 542-2222 or the tip line at 9300. Later on Friday, an ATV rider collided with a pickup truck near the Freedom Fighters roundabout. The rider was reported to be stable with non-life-threatening injuries. Also, a scooter rider remains in critical condition following a collision with an SUV at the junction of Flamboyant Road and LB Scott Road late Saturday night. Police say the scooter rider attempted to overtake the SUV as its driver turned left onto Flamboyant Road. Early Sunday morning, a woman suffered several stab wounds to her upper body near a restaurant on Bush Road. Ambulance personnel treated her before transporting her to the medical center in serious condition. And a female suspect later reported to the Philipsburg police station where she was arrested on the spot. The motive and circumstances remain unclear. In a separate incident, fire destroyed a small wooden house near Brill Road in Middle Region on Friday. No injuries were reported. Police are urging motorists to exercise caution and are asking anyone with information about the stabbing to call 542-2222, the tip line, the anonymous tip line at 9300, or contact KPSM through its official Facebook page. All 5 incidents remain under investigation. UNOPS reviews sentence calculation as prison search uncovers contraband. Justice Minister the Honorable Natalie Tacklin says UNOPS was asked to independently verify former Member of Parliament Theo Heiliger's sentence calculation after 2 different figures were submitted. Heiliger requested permission to serve the remainder of his sentence under electronic monitoring, but the request was denied. The Point Blanche prison calculated that he had not yet served the legally required 2/3 of his sentence. His attorney challenged that findings with a new, different calculation. Tacklin says the independent review was requested as an extra precaution and to avoid unnecessary legal action. She explained that the early release process begins only after an inmate completes 2/3 of a sentence. Behavior does not determine eligibility, but may be considered later when release conditions are assessed. Meanwhile, Marines and the police force discovered drugs, bladed weapons, and impact weapons during a contraband search at the Point Blanche Correctional Facility. The Marines assisted at the request of local authorities, helping ensure the operation was conducted safely for prison staff and inmates. Government reminds street vendors to secure permits. Government is reminding street vendors that Chamber of Commerce registration alone does not authorize them to operate in public spaces. The Economic and Transport Inspectorate says all street vendors must obtain a valid permit from the Minister of Tayat through the Department of Economic Licenses. Additional permits or approvals may also be required depending on the products or services being offered. The inspectorate has identified persons operating without permits, as well as licensed vendors conducting activities beyond what their permits allow. Unlicensed vending has also been observed during evenings and weekends. Officials say the requirements promote fair competition, protect consumers and public health, and support the orderly use of public spaces. The inspectorate is preparing an inventory and registration exercise to develop an updated overview of street vending activities throughout Sint Maarten. Vendors who are uncertain about the requirements should contact the Department of Economic Licenses before starting or expanding operations. Government also says enforcement will continue while supporting lawful entrepreneurship.
Hello, my people. My name is Glenda York of Sit, Sip and Chat and Moms in Paradise podcast. You can find us on TV15 Sint Maarten, TVC St. Kitts, and on YouTube. Reporting from Great Bay Media Studios in Sint Maarten, your NEWSDESK feature story is coming up. But first, here is Mizzy with the Sunshine Report.
Hey there, it's Mizzy with the Sunshine Report, straight out of Sunshine City, Sint Maarten, bringing you the warmth and the sunshine you need to kickstart your day. So let's dive into today's forecast and see how the skies are treating us.
You, your voice matters. If you're between 13 and 24, this is your chance to shape the future.
Take the Department of Youth's quick 5 to 7 minute survey and share what matters most to you. Your feedback will help guide programs and policies that make a real difference.
Scan the QR code and take the survey today. Your voice, our future. Together for Sint Maarten.
You could talk to your family, talk to your friends. Affordability and convenience. Community connection, that makes sense. Reliability with experience. Hey, for every life, every adventure. Number one provider, they got ya. We tell them your data is always on. You can opt out whenever you want. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want the road. Control my data, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always connected every time, everywhere. Money low, but I never fair. I know, tell them it's there. Connectivity, that's what I like. Flexibility, that's what I like. Reliability, that's what I like. Tell them, sign me up for life. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Come tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to go. Come tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want the road.
Welcome to the BTP Cybercrime Awareness video. What is cybercrime? Cybercrime is any illegal activity that uses computers, smartphones, or the internet. to harm people, steal information, or cause damage. Now, how to protect yourself. First, use strong passwords. Also, keep your devices and antivirus software updated. Enable two-factor authentication. Research before sending money. Use trusted platforms. Log out of accounts on shared/public devices. Scan the QR code for more tips. Stay alert. Stay secure.
SEDC Open Certified Poultry Training Program. Aspiring and existing poultry farmers can now register for a certified training program aimed at expanding local food production and creating new business opportunities. The St. Maarten Entrepreneurship Development Center, SEDC, will hold its poultry production and processing training program from August 17th through the 28th. Jamaican poultry experts Winston Thomas and Dr. Gabrielle Young will combine classroom instruction with hands-on training. Participants will learn broiler and layer production, poultry housing, disease prevention, biosecurity, vaccination, egg handling, processing, packaging, and value-added production. The program is designed for existing farmers seeking to improve productivity, persons interested in diversifying into poultry, and entrepreneurs planning to establish or expand a poultry business. Training is offered through SEDC's Advanced Education Program and funded by TWO under the E6 Country Package. Registration costs $35, representing a 95% discount on the regular fee. Spaces are limited. Interested persons should register at tinyurl.com/poultry-certification. Public invited to help design St. Maarten's first official flag. Residents and members of the diaspora are being invited to help design St. Maarten's first official territorial flag. The collectivité will present findings from its 3-month public consultation on Monday, August 10th at 6 p.m. at the CCISM. Officials will also explain the rules, eligibility requirements, judging criteria, and timeline for the design competition, which opens Tuesday, August 11th. Artists, graphic designers, creative professionals, and amateurs may submit proposals through mystmartinflag.com or deliver them to the Direction de l'Action Culturelle. The submission deadline is September 30th at noon, St. Maarten time. Selected designs will advance to a public consultative vote in October, allowing the community to express its preference. The chosen flag is scheduled to be officially installed on December 7th. Officials say the initiative aims to create a flag reflecting St. Maarten's history, culture, identity, and aspirations through the participation of residents at home and abroad. Office of Disaster Management urges marinas to finalize hurricane plans. The Office of Disaster Management is urging boat owners, captains, marine operators to finalize hurricane preparedness plans as the Atlantic season approaches its peak. Colorado State University forecasts a well below average season due to the likelihood of a strong El Nino event. However, National Disaster Coordinator Clive Richardson warns that it takes only one hurricane to cause serious damage. Mariners should inspect moorings, verify insurance coverage, protect important documents, and ensure equipment is ready before any storm or hurricane watch is issued. St. Maarten registered vessels must be removed from the Simpson Bay Lagoon or Oyster Pond and secured on land or at a dock before a tropical storm or hurricane passes. Visiting mariners should arrange to seek safer waters or secure their vessels at a boatyard. ODM stresses that personal safety must take priority over protecting property. Preparedness resources are available at stmartengov.org/hurricane, while official weather updates are available also through Meteo St. Maarten and SXM Gov Radio 107.9 FM, or just watch the Sunshine Report.
Hey there, I'm Venicia Herbert, and welcome to the Community Billboard. This is your space where the people, places, and heartbeat of the St. Maarten community get to speak for themselves. Whether it's an event worth showing up for, a business worth knowing about, or a cause worth caring about, you'll hear it right here. So, settle in, because what's coming up next just might be exactly what you've been looking for. Welcome to the NEWSDESK Community Billboard.
sweating, weakness, dizziness, headache, nausea. A fast heartbeat may be signs of heat exhaustion. Move the person to a cool or shaded area, loosen clothing, and help them cool down. Confusion, fainting, seizures, or very hot skin may signal heat stroke. Call emergency services immediately. Know the warning signs and act quickly. A message from Collective Prevention Services within the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor.
To be part of our mailing list, send an email to newsdesksxm@gmail.com.
Hey, Sint Maarten youth, your voice matters. If you're between 13 and 24, this is your chance to shape the future.
Take the Department of Youth's quick 5 to 7 minute survey and share what matters most to you. Your feedback will help guide programs and policies that make a real difference.
Scan the QR code and take the survey today. Your voice, our future. Together for Sint Maarten.
Let's put everything on the table. People always give their opinion, and you can either take it or crunch it. Let them judge. We give in to the most irresistible flavor. We devour every nugget that falls in our hands, especially when it's our crunchy fried chicken. And let the crumbs fly if needed. Let them keep judging. We'll keep indulging. KFC, it's finger licking good.
You could talk to your family, talk to your friends. Affordability and convenience. Community connection, that makes sense. Reliability with experience. Hey, for every love, every adventure. Number one provider, they got ya. We tell them your data is always on. You can opt out whenever you want. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want the road. Control my data, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always connected every time, everywhere. Money low, but I never fair. I know, tell them it's there. Connectivity, that's what I like. Flexibility, that's what I like. Reliability, that's what I like. Tell them, sign me up for life. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Come tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to go. Come tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to road.
Welcome to the BTP Cybercrime Awareness video. What is cybercrime? Cybercrime is any illegal activity that uses computers, smartphones, or the internet to harm people, steal information, or cause damage. Now, how to protect yourself. First, use strong passwords. Also, keep your devices and antivirus software updated. Enable two-factor authentication. Research before sending money. Use trusted platforms. Log out of accounts on shared/public devices. Scan the QR code for more tips. Stay alert. Stay secure.
Before we wrap up, we take a moment each day to check in with our neighbors across the region. There's always a story worth paying attention to. Here's today's regional headline.
Chamber of Commerce guides Jamaican entrepreneurs as Colombian Navy visits Curacao. The Sint Maarten Chamber of Commerce and Industry has provided members of the Jamaican diaspora with guidance on starting and operating compliant businesses. The information session was held at the invitation of the Jamaican Consulate as part of activities marking Jamaica's 64th independence anniversary. Co-Chief Director Jude Houston explained the Chamber's responsibilities, available business structures, the registration process, and the government agencies entrepreneurs must engage with. Participants also received practical advice on establishing sustainable businesses in Sint Maarten. Meanwhile, Colombian naval vessel Ark 24 de Julio visited Curacao to commemorate 200 years of diplomatic relations between Colombia and the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The vessel was officially welcomed in Willemstad by Colombia's ambassador and consul to Curacao and the ship's commander. It was later opened to the public at Mati Wharf. Officials say the visit highlighted maritime cooperation while strengthening relations with Curaçao's Colombian community.
Welcome back. Each day we take a moment to go beyond the headlines and look deeper into the issues, people, and conversations shaping life here on Sint Maarten. Welcome to today's NEWSDESK feature.
Martin's prison crisis did not appear overnight. According to former Justice Minister Roland Duncan, the warning signs were already clear shortly after 10-10-10 when Sint Maarten became a country within this kingdom. In an interview with SMN News, Duncan said plans were already being developed in 2010 for a new Justice Park. That project would have included a new prison, a courthouse, police facilities, police housing, and a juvenile correctional institution. If those plans had moved forward, Sint Maarten might not be facing the correctional crisis it faces today. Instead, the project collapsed. Duncan said the disagreement was not about whether a new prison was needed, it was about funding. He proposed increasing immigration fees to finance the Justice Park through the Ministry of Justice. But according to him, government wanted those funds paid into the general fund instead. Duncan refused, arguing that if justice generated the money, justice should control the project. The result was that the proposal died. And what followed was 15 years of warnings, reports, temporary fixes, and political promises. Today, Point Blanche Prison is overcrowded and under severe strain. SMN News reports that the women's section is currently housing 8 male inmates. A female murder suspect arrested last week may soon need to be transferred from police custody, but there may be no local space available for her. A convicted female drug trafficker was reportedly deported because there was no accommodation for women. These are not small operational issues. They point to a prison system running out of space, out of flexibility, and out of time. Over the years, several oversight bodies raised concerns about Point Blanche. The Law Enforcement Council warned about weaknesses in inmate classification, rehabilitation, and reintegration. The European Committee for the Prevention of Torture criticized detention conditions in Point Blanche. The European Court of Human Rights found that conditions at Point Blanche violated Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights. Yet the prison remained in the same location with the same structural limitations. Duncan also pointed out one of the obvious physical problems. Point Blanche sits on a cliff with limited room for expansion. At the same time, the building is constantly exposed to salt air, which continues to weaken the structure. Since 10-10-10, Sint Maarten has had several ministers of justice and multiple coalition governments. Each one inherited the same prison problem. Each one received warnings. Each one heard calls for reform, but instead of a permanent solution, the country relied for years on renovations, emergency repairs, and temporary measures. It was not until former Justice Minister Anna Richardson that the new prison project moved from discussion to implementation. Richardson secured the agreement allowing Sint Maarten and the Netherlands to move forward with the new prison project through UNOPS. Construction is now underway. But it comes after nearly a decade and a half of delay. The issue now is not only who first proposed a new prison or which government failed to act. The deeper question is why a problem identified at the birth of a country was allowed to grow into a crisis. A prison is not just a building, it is part of the justice chain. When the prison system cannot safely house inmates, separate populations, support rehabilitation, or meet human rights standards, the entire system feels the pressure. Police can make arrests, courts can issue sentences, but if corrections cannot function properly, justice itself becomes unstable. That is why the new prison project must be treated as more than construction. It must be a full correctional reform project with staffing, mental health care, rehabilitation, safety, inmate classification, and long-term maintenance built into the plan. Sint Maarten is finally building the prison it has needed for years, but the country must also learn from the cost of waiting. Because the question today is no longer whether a new prison is necessary. The question is why it took 15 years and a system nearing collapse for Sint Maarten to finally build one.
That's all the time we have for today's edition of Sint Maarten News Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, new episodes premiere every weekday at 8 a.m. on TV15 and across all our social media platforms. From all of us here at News Desk, we wish you a fantastic week ahead. Until next time, stay friendly, Sint Maarten.